In this lecture, we will learn about basics of connectors and cables. Recall that we have studied grouping devices as active devices and as passive devices. What is an active device? Some devices require you to provide power supply. That is, you provide a DC power supply to do the operation. These are called as active devices. Examples are amplifiers, signal generators, and so on. This requires external power supply to be provided. Some devices do not require external power supply. These are called as passive devices. Examples are filters, cables, connectors, and so on, which we will see in the following slides. So now let us look at basics of connectors and cables. Let us get started at high level, the background and purpose of cables and connectors. Consider a DC circuit as shown here. Say you are creating a hobby project connecting a battery with few LEDs as shown here. Think of this, you are designing as a blinking LED circuit. You may have few capacitors in the path to set the blinking time. And all this, say you are doing it on a breadboard. The circuit shown here is not fully accurate and can be used to explain the concept. So what you do is connect all these devices using normal wires. These are all the wires which you buy in a normal electric shop. Now consider something similar in a microwave system. Say you want to design a wireless transmitter or a receiver as a hobby. Here you can see that this circuit has microwave source and an amplifier, a filter and an antenna. For transmission, we know very well that at microwave frequencies we cannot use the regular wires used at DC and we need to use a transmission line. So these are all the transmission lines. So the wires used at microwave frequencies are two conductor cables like how we have seen in the transmission line theory lectures. Further, there is another constraint. Microwave frequencies have a wide spectrum with frequencies ranging from say 100 megahertz all the way up to say 100 gigahertz. So some cables work well at 100 megahertz while some cable does not perform well at 10 gigahertz or 100 gigahertz. Also, cables at higher frequencies like 10 gigahertz or 100 gigahertz or even 50 gigahertz are expensive compared to cables at 100 megahertz, which means cables here could be cheaper and this could be costlier. This means the cable design itself is different based on the frequency of operation and cost. Hence, the cable and the end points called as connectors, which are used to connect different devices or measurement equipment, come in various shapes and size. So these are the cables, which are transmission lines, and these end points are called as the connectors. These are the end points of a cable. So cable, the end points are called as connectors. Now, what are the four factors that impact the design of a cable and a correct connector? First one is the frequency of operation. Second one is cost. Third one is the device or the equipment itself. And fourth one is size. Further, it also depends on application. Is the final product a radar or a mobile phone or an IoT system? So we need to be aware of that. Based on the space constraints, the connector shape and size will vary. The concept of connectors also exists at DC when you have the wires that you need to fit into different electrical fittings into your home. You may have noticed that power supply connector that goes into a TV or a laptop is quite different. So if you see the example here, So this is the power supply coming from the wall, and let's say this is the laptop and this is the TV. So these connectors are different for a laptop or for a TV. One would not fit into the another. So we know very well that, let's say if the laptop is a connector A, then the TV connector is B, and we know that these two connectors don't fit into each other. This is unique and this is also unique. In DC case, the different connectors is mainly because of cost and space constraint, while at microwave frequencies, frequency plays a major role. Now, with this background, we can go into the next session where we look into the connectors and adapters of various kinds.